So how does a simple feeling, a perception in a customer's mind, transform into a multi-billion-dollar asset on a company's balance sheet? Now, this isn't magic. It's a very deliberate strategic process called branding. And we're going to unpack exactly how that journey works, from a simple mental image to a hard financial asset.
This quote from Walter Landor really just hits the nail on the head. It's the foundation for everything we're about to discuss. A factory, right? It churns out physical objects. But a brand, the story, the feeling, that whole network of ideas, that is built entirely inside the customer's mind. And that's the real landscape where value is created.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to draw a clear line between a product and a brand. Then, we'll dive into the 3 pillars that create value for the customer. After that, we'll see how that value gets captured by the business itself. And finally, we'll get into the really crucial difference between a brand's power and its financial equity.
All right, first things first, we have to establish this foundational distinction. What is a product and what is a brand?
This is such a great way to frame it. Product management is all about the what, the tangible stuff, the taste, the features, the specs. But brand management, that's about the who and the why. It's not about the physical thing itself, it's about building an identity around it, answering, why should I care? That's what creates a real connection.
So where does that identity live? Well, it exists as the brand image. And this is the complete picture a person has in their head, all their thoughts, their feelings, their beliefs. And the critical thing to remember here is that the brand image is not what the company says it is, it's what the customer perceives it to be. That's the only thing that matters.
And a really helpful way to visualize this is as a kind of mental map. For a loyal customer, Starbucks isn't just a dot on the map labeled coffee. No, it's a major hub connected to all these other ideas, like my morning ritual, a quick escape, or a reliable meeting spot. The richness and the positivity of that map, that's the entire goal of brand building.
Okay, so we have these mental maps, but how do they actually create real, tangible benefits for the customer? Well, the framework breaks this down into 3 core pillars of value.
A strong brand delivers value in 3 really distinct ways. There's the functional value, which just makes life easier. There's psychological value, which connects with us on an emotional level. And then there's monetary value, which actually impacts our finances. Let's break each of those down.
First up is the most practical one, functional value. At the most basic level, a brand like Tide helps you quickly spot what you need on a super crowded shelf. But it goes deeper. A brand like DeWalt signals durability. It creates trust before you've even picked up the tool. And this is the most fascinating part. It can actually enhance how we perceive performance. In blind taste tests, most people can't tell bottled waters apart. But when you put that Fiji label on the bottle, suddenly it tastes better. That's the brand placebo effect in action.
Now, the second pillar, psychological value, is often where the deepest loyalty gets built. This is all about feeling. Allstate isn't just selling insurance policies, they're selling a feeling of security. Harley-Davidson isn't just selling motorcycles, it's a symbol of a whole lifestyle. And with a brand like Tom's, you're not just buying shoes, you're getting the satisfaction of contributing to a cause.
And finally, brands deliver straight-up monetary value. Think about it. A brand like Walmart immediately signals low prices, which saves you the time and effort of comparison shopping. And on the flip side, a luxury brand like Gucci doesn't just command a premium when it's new, it also holds a much higher resale value than some generic equivalent. The brand itself has become a financial part of the asset.
Okay, so the brand has delivered functional, psychological, and monetary value to the customer. That's great for them. But now, how does that translate back into real performance for the company?
The strategic benefits are just immense. They create this powerful competitive moat around your business. A strong brand doesn't just convince one person to buy. It creates widespread demand and turns customers into advocates. Retailers are way more likely to give you that prime shelf space. It helps you attract and keep the best people. And this is so crucial. It acts as a massive amplifier, making every single dollar you spend on marketing work that much harder.
And of course, all that strategic value translates directly to the bottom line. It drives revenue, it drives profit, it can even lower labor costs because top talent wants to be associated with you. And maybe most importantly, it creates a separable asset. This is really the final step in the journey, transforming the brand from just a marketing concept into a tangible line item on a balance sheet that can be bought and sold.
And here it is. This is the ultimate proof that a brand is a real, sellable asset.
Back in 2012, Kellogg paid Procter & Gamble $2.7 billion for Pringles. Now, they weren't just buying factories or potato recipes. They were buying the name, the can, the logo, that character. They were buying that mental image we talked about. That is the monetized value of a brand.
This brings us to our final and maybe most critical distinction. It's the difference between a brand's potential to influence people and its actual realized financial value. So first, you've got brand power. Think of this as the brand's raw influence. It's its ability to make a customer choose it over a competitor, to convince a partner to support it, or to attract top talent to come work for you. It's the potential to shape behavior out in the market. In contrast to that, you have brand equity. This is the financial result of that power. It's the specific monetary value, the number that actually goes on the balance sheet, that represents all the future financial returns the brand is expected to generate. It's influence that has been captured and quantified.
This really lays out the relationship perfectly. Power is the ability to influence. It's the magnet. Equity is the monetary result of that influence. It's the treasure. So power is all about potential. Equity is about actual performance. You can spend all day building power, but if you don't effectively leverage it in the marketplace, you'll never realize its full equity.
And this is the key insight. Just because a brand has a ton of power doesn't automatically mean it has high equity. There are two other massive variables in the equation: the size of the market you're playing in and the company's ability to strategically leverage that power.
This comparison just makes the concept crystal clear. Look at Porsche. It has absolutely immense brand power, right? It commands a huge price premium, it has a fanatically loyal base, but it operates in a pretty niche market. Then you have Honda. It has high brand power, people see it as reliable, it has broad reach, but maybe not as intense as Porsche's. The difference? Honda operates in the massive global market. And the result? Honda's total brand equity is estimated to be higher. It's a perfect example of leveraging good power across a giant market versus leveraging great power across a small one.
And this leads to the ultimate strategic question you should be asking. If a brand's equity doesn't fully reflect the potential of its power, well, by definition, that's an undervalued asset. It's a massive opportunity waiting to be seized. So, the question to leave you with is this: is your brand's power fully reflected in its equity, or is there a huge amount of value just waiting to be unlocked?